record. So welcome. We are doing a Inspiration Nation team call tonight, and we're going to do a couple of things. Terry's going to tell us about just a reminder of what's on sale this month and promotions and all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to talk about Facebook groups and navigating those. And there was something that I took away from the, wait, hang on one second. There's a request to mute. Let me just do that so we don't have any feedback here. There we go. Something more that I took back from the New Leaders Conference that pertains to Facebook groups that I really wanted to share with you all. So I wanted to do that tonight as well. And then we'll probably have time for questions and things that may or may not pertain to that at the end. So thanks for taking the time to get on. I know this week has been a little bit busy with calls. I don't know if you all did heard last night or heard the replay of Darren O'Lean's call. It was pretty awesome. And somebody suggested that we put it into our Coach Basics, which I think is a great idea because he just kind of goes through all the Shakeology frequently asked questions that we get over and over again. And hearing it from the creator, I mean, it just kind of puts it all. It's a great call. So listen to it if you get a chance. I think it's about 45 minutes. And he literally just goes point by point through the FAQs. So it's really an easy listen. It's not not over your head or anything with detail, but it's really good. So I'm gonna, for the moment, flip it over to Terry so she can update us on all the good info for February. Oh shoot, sorry, there you go.
You muted me. Okay, hold on, I actually did this little thing so that you can see it better.
Cool.
Hold on 1 second. Okay. Is that working?
Yes. Let me move this here.
Okay. So I stole this from Marsha because she did it so nicely. Here are the February specials for the month, and it's like 21 Day Fix Extreme Extravaganza. So the Extreme Challenge Pack is $140. The Extreme Kickstart and Shakeology Challenge Pack 3-day refresh is $180. The 21 Day Fix Challenge Pack is $140, and the 21 Day Fix with the 3-day refresh is $180, and then the 3-day refresh and Shakeology Challenge Pack $140. So those are all the promotional challenge packs that are on sale this month. Oh yes, this is the Team Cup. So I just copied this little PDF from the back office, and it just kind of goes over the different tiers and prizes you can win if you are on a cup team. And I know some of us are and some of us aren't. If you're not, this may encourage you the next time around to jump on a cup team. They do say that everybody who's participated in one has actually seen their business grow. So they are great things to become a part of. There's no pressure. You can read over the the prizes and things. I'm not sure about this bobblehead here. It's kind of a cheesy gift, but hey, why not? And I just kind of put some things over here on, not necessarily focusing on the prizes or SC points, because I know when I was trying to get our team together, everybody was kind of like, I don't want to let the team down, or, what if I don't get SC points, or what if I don't get SC5? And I was just trying to encourage everybody to not focus on the SC points per se at the beginning, but more just, I just kind of asked them, like, how many people do you want to help this month? Do you want to help 3 people, start fresh, get on a health and fitness journey, pick the amount of people and then go from there. And they're all doing really well. My team, I don't know, I feel like they're kind of, pushing a little harder maybe, or maybe not. Maybe it's just coming very naturally. I don't know. But there is a little something, with teamwork, and, it helps us in terms of, kind of forcing us to invite a little bit more, push one another. I have here, we share different ideas and tips in Inspiration Nation as well on things that have worked. I know in some of the other groups, a couple people have, shared some things that they've posted that have been helpful, and they're getting some, more contacts and, comments on their like pages. So, it's ways to sort of work together as a whole group and then break down into these smaller groups and try to push each other a little bit more. So, just wanted to show you that. And this is also, if you're, so they talk about that form, and really, on these cup teams, it sort of kind of, like I said, pushes us a little bit to reach out more, maybe add to our contact list, maybe invite a few more people each week. And they always go back to this form, and this is kind of small to see. I don't know if you can even see it. But, FORM is an acronym that stands for Family, Occupation, Recreation, and Message. And just kind of ways to, talk to people, ask them about their family, occupation. You can read, I know. But these are all under the Team Cup. It's in like the news feed on the right hand side of your back office. So there's lots of different tips and things that you can use to help with inviting and just contacting and reaching out to people. I wanted to show you this real quick too, although I don't know how to get to that part. I'll show you that in a little bit. Okay, and then the National Wake Up Call. So this, I don't know if you guys have been in tune with this. If you're getting on the Wake Up Call every Monday, they're live at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And it's just a great thing to, I listen to it on the way to pick up my kids from preschool. I plug it in, and it's just going in the car. It has, they kind of talk about the different promotions for the month, what's going on that week, kind of in-house business things. And then there's always a great, leader who speaks on the call and shares some awesome tips, or, mostly their story, how they got started, and things that are helping them in their business. And they're always great calls to kind of get you pumped up for the week and ready for the week ahead. So if you can't get on live, they have the replay call. I know a bunch of us have this number kind of in our phone. You can listen to the playback at any time. There's a list of, all the last few weeks wake up calls. So if you have time to do that, what I do in my cell phone is I have in my notes, I have a little thing that says calls to listen to or things to listen to. And every time I get like a YouTube video or something that I want to listen to, but I can't at the time, I stick it in those notes. And then when I'm in the car or whatever, I will plug it in and listen. So that might be something you want to do with the wake up call if you choose to. I don't know how to get off of the screen share. Hold on, let me figure this out. Okay, stop share. I just wanted to show you this real quick because this is also in the back office. And in terms of expanding your market, I know this is what you're going to be talking about shortly, Kathleen. And so I didn't realize this was even in here. Again, this is under the Team Cup information, but there are all these different links on all the different, social media venues. So, and getting started blog, getting started with YouTube, Instagram, Google+. So I haven't even looked at these. I don't know if any of you have, but I thought it was interesting and maybe something to share and help you. All those different things. So
I never saw that. That's awesome. Can you post that in the group?
Yeah, I will do that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you. That was very helpful. Learned something new. Yeah, there's tons of good stuff happening this month, and And I think you all know next month they're launching the on-demand. So I guess we'll get more details as we go about how that will work and how that rolls out. That should be really interesting, I think. Can you also post the other info? Terry, what did you mean, Beth? Which challenge packs are on sale? Wait, let me unmute you real quick. What other stuff did you want her to post?
Thing with the acronym form on it.
Oh, the form one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, super. So I'm actually gonna do a little screen share with you also here. Hang on a second. And no, how do you do this again? Why do I always forget? View, present, there we go. So it's come up a number of times, including with myself. How do you keep up when there are all these Facebook groups? And just so you get an idea, every time you move forward in the business, you get added to a bunch more. So if you think you're overwhelmed now, let's try and get it under control, because it only gets worse as far as number of groups. So I thought maybe we could have a call specifically about that, because I know especially, everybody gets overwhelmed, but especially new coaches, when you get added to this group and that group, and how do you keep track of it all? So I thought first we could talk kind of in the sense of perspective, and then at the end we can talk maybe a little bit more practical as well. But this was something that was sort of addressed at the New Leaders Conference. I think you guys know I went to that in the end of January, and it was in LA, and we got to hear from these great, amazing top coaches, and one of them is Trina Gray. So I think that we all are pretty familiar with Melanie, but I want to talk about that a little bit too as we go. But Trina's another top coach, completely different style. So it was really cool to hear another top coach talk about her success in the business, and this was something she actually addressed. So I thought it would be cool to share a little bit more detail about her presentation with you all here. So the first thing that she talked about was, she kind of told this story about the voice, and I think you all are familiar with the program. So just in case you're not, kind of similar to the others, American Idol and I think X Factor and all that. But basically the idea is that if you've watched any of them, or even if you haven't, you probably can appreciate the story that, sometimes there are singers that go on there and they try and do like a Whitney Houston song, and you hear all the judges be like, you can't do that, because you can't duplicate that. You can't try and be Whitney Houston. There's just there's no room for that. But when you have people that take a song from another artist and they, change it up and make it their own, then they often are really rewarded in that show, and they get to go further and they get all kinds of praise. So basically the message is that there are these amazing leaders out there, but we can't copy them and we can't imitate them to the point of losing ourselves. And the beauty of this business is that there's room for everybody to be successful, because there's literally millions of people that need our help, and eventually they'll expand the market into other countries and around the world and whatever, and there'll be even more people to help. I think the ratio is ridiculous. I've heard it and I can't keep it in my brain, like 2 out of every 3 Americans are overweight or something. So it's just that somebody else described it as a pie. Like, there's just plenty to go around. So even though there are already people that are hugely successful in this business, there's still room for all of us to be successful. And so something that I heard that has really stuck with me is to give yourself permission to be successful, because you are deserving of it. Every one of you, every one of us is deserving of success. And it doesn't matter who has gone before us. It doesn't matter who is going along the journey with us or who will come after us. We all can have success, and we all can take our own road there. I love this one. There are many paths to the top of the mountain, but the view is always the same. So you don't have to follow the path of the person that sponsored you or the person that's in our upline. You can find your own way. You can branch out. You can find other coaches that speak to you. But the bottom line is, give yourself permission to have your own voice and your own success. So this isn't something I'm going to ask you to do right now, but it really would be helpful, I think, if you've not done this, to think about your own strengths and what you bring to the business and what you bring to the people you're trying to help, because it's probably different than mine, than yours. If I'm not your personally sponsored coach, it's probably different than that person. It's probably different than if you have a success partner or you're part of a cup team. Everybody brings their own strengths, and identifying what those are can be very helpful in figuring out how to move forward in the business. And also identifying the strengths that you see in other coaches who you look up to or who you think are successful, and picking out a few of their strengths and trying to see if they match or if there's something that you can look towards. But just kind of taking note that we all, again, have different ways and different paths, but we all can be successful and we can all attract people that are like-minded and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's see. There we go. So this is another good one. So the message is that we all, I don't know if you all are really aware of how the business works. And it kind of is like a family tree, right? So there's, somebody at the top, and then the legs and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not sure if you guys really know, or I know for new coaches, it's very confusing. But so I wanted to just explain that for a second, in case you aren't aware of kind of our family tree within Beachbody. So Lindsay Matway, who is a top coach, and I heard recently, I think you might have heard, she is in the top 10 the past 4 years. So she's very kind of big and powerful and very successful in Beachbody. She was the #1 coach last year. So she kind of sits at the top of our family tree. She didn't really have a very, I've heard that they weren't working coaches, or maybe they sort of were, whatever. However she got in the business, she didn't really have a strong upline. And then so she kind of started, Lindsay Matway. So then down from her, there was a coach named Katie Hefner, she's successful in the business. And then from her is Nikki Mitten. You don't need to remember these names. I just kind of want to explain to you a little bit about our family tree. But so anyway, Katie Hefner, Nikki Mitten, and then Melanie Mitro, and she's of course the top coach this year. And under her is Alyssa Shoemaker. And then I'm under Alyssa, and Jen is also under Alyssa. So Jen and I teamed up a while back and kind of pooled our teams together so that we could both have, resources and connections and all that kind of stuff. So in Inspiration Nation, there are actually 2 different coaches that sit under Alyssa. And then after that, you can talk to your personally sponsored coach about how it sits after that. But for the explanation of this call, that's kind of how it sits. So for one, I wanted to explain that to you because it's, and I kind of assume that you all know this, but maybe you don't, and I don't want to assume. So I think you can see that. So Melanie has surpassed both of her 2 upline coaches, and even her third, because she went past Lindsay Matway in the business, because that's the beauty of network marketing. It's very different than, pyramid scheme and all that kind of stuff, because there is room for people to, be successful separate from our upline. So everybody can have success in this business. You can jump past people and people can jump past you, and it's all wonderful, and it's all something that, you don't have to be hung up on that somebody above you started before you, because it really can be however you navigate through the business yourself is what you can do. So anyway, I just kind of want to explain that. And then the other thing that kind of is towards the topic of discussion tonight, how you navigate these groups. So I don't know for sure who's all been added to what groups, but I can tell you that each of those coaches that kind of runs down the family tree eventually branches out on their own, and hopefully you all will do the same, branches out on their own to start their own team. Right, so Lindsay Matway's team is called the Bombshell Dynasty, which we are part of. And then Katie Hefner and Nikki Mitten. And then Melanie Mitro has what she calls the Dream Team, which we are also part of. And then Alyssa Shoemaker has the Royal Republic, which we are part of. And then we have Inspiration Nation, which you all are part of. And then some coaches in here have started their own teams, and some of you are part of those. And it's wonderful, but it's also incredibly, incredibly overwhelming and confusing. So we'll talk more about that as we go, but that's kind of how the hierarchy works. And it's wonderful when people branch out and start their own teams, because it means that you're growing in this business, and that's what we want for everybody. We want for all of our coaches to have success and branch out and start their own things. And then if you think about it, I mean, the ripple effect of the number of people we are helping, it's overwhelmingly wonderful. You know, it just kind of one to the next, and how many people out there are we doing amazing things for, and all that stuff. But anyway, so with that in mind, the idea is that you want to branch out eventually, but you want to stay rooted too. So you want to try and figure out, you know, where you fit in. And that's kind of why we're having this call tonight, to try and navigate that and figure out, you know, which groups. Some of you, I think, are a part of the Royal Republic group and the Dream Team group, and some of us who have been doing this a little bit longer are part of the Bombshell Dynasty pages and all that kind of stuff. And it gets very confusing, and it also can be, I don't know, for some of us, me included, it can be kind of anxiety provoking, because you're like, how do I keep up with that person and this group and that group and the other thing? So anyway, so we're going to talk more about that, but that's just kind of the picture. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, I kind of would like to at some point draw it, but I don't know how to do that on these calls. So this is the point, though. So another thing that kind of Trina said that just stuck out, I kind of have it underlined in my notes and stuff, basically is to give ourselves permission. I give you permission. She gave us permission, and I don't know, it really touched me in some way. So I'm giving you permission. I'm passing it on to you to find where you best fit in and contribute there. So if you feel like Inspiration Nation, for example, is a place where you fit in, which hopefully you all feel that way, but no offense taken if it doesn't feel like the best fit for you. If you feel more connected to Royal Republic or Dream Team or whatever. But anyway, give yourself permission to figure out where you fit in best and make that group a priority for yourself, but also contribute there. So if Inspiration Nation feels like a good fit for you, I'd love to see everybody contributing in some way to that page. It's not any kind of requirement. It's just to say, you know, commenting on things, which you all do. And it's so lovely and it's so wonderful. I think you all know that when you post something and people give you feedback or people answer your questions, it feels so wonderful to be part of a team. And I think that that's so very important. And I think that we do a great job with each other. And I think anytime somebody posts something in there, there's nearly immediately somebody answering, somebody offering something, and that's what makes our team so amazing. So I would certainly love to see that continue. I think we all would love to see that continue. But having said that, if you feel connected to something else or in addition to, you have permission to certainly go and be involved and contribute there, as well as if something's provoking in you some kind of anxiety, you have permission to you don't have to follow along with any of that. You know what I mean? If a group doesn't feel like a fit for you, then it's okay. You have the permission to not necessarily be in that group if it's not providing you with what you need. Okay, so having said that, I would love to talk about the different levels of groups. So Inspiration Nation is really a place that we hope provides, and you all can tell me if this isn't exactly what your thinking is about it, but hopefully it provides inspiration and information, right? So resources are in there, and we try and do a little bit of motivating and stuff like that. And that's pretty much what the purpose of Inspiration Nation is. I mean, there's connections made and all that wonderful stuff, but it's not meant to be like the training groups, and it's not meant to be like a challenge group and that kind of thing. So basically, that's what Inspiration Nation is. And I would say kind of the same for if you're involved in Royal Republic or Dream Team. Like, those are good places for resources. And that's what you're going to get there. I think most of you know that, but if you're new to the team, that might be something that's helpful to know. Okay, so here's something else that's worth talking about, and then we'll get to the actual practical stuff about the groups. So Trina, the one other thing Trina talked about was common speed bumps, and this kind of also goes along with, you know, this idea of where do you fit in and what groups to check in and all that stuff, and a little bit extra. So I love this quote. She didn't give this. I found this tonight as I was looking up something else. But don't confuse life speed bumps with stop signs. And I think in this business, that so applies as well. And we all hit speed bumps, and I think maybe talking through them a little bit would be helpful. But so these are the ones that that we heard and that she talked about that I think this is like a little aside, I guess. Most common speed bumps. Number one, being a closet Beachbody coach, which means that you're not telling people what you're doing. And I think this is one of my biggest downfalls, is that I don't think I'm as forthcoming as maybe I could be about that. And so it's one of my own personal resolutions. But anyway, so what sometimes can be helpful is renaming it. And if you're not connected with the word Beachbody coach, that maybe you want to say health and fitness, wellness, accountability, mentor, advisor, leader, advocate, whatever. So if that's a speed bump for you, that there are lots of ways we can help overcome that. The second most common speed bump is self-doubt, which is usually due to comparison. So the idea is that you want to be inspired by other people and not intimidated by other people's success. So I actually have I kind of created my own, this was before the conference, I kind of created my own letterhead that I do some of my note taking on, that has little quotes that I find helpful. And one of them is blinders on, which sometimes, especially, I don't know about you, but especially on Thursdays when there's lots of talk about rank advancements and whatever, especially on those days, you kind of have to make sure that you protect yourself and you protect what you're hearing, so that you can keep moving forward without comparing yourself to other people. So stopping negative self-talk, and wait, I'm sorry. Oh, learning about other coach stories. So figuring out how you best fit in, and knowing that you're not the only one that's like you, that there are other people out there like you, that those are all things that can help with self-doubt. And then time is the biggest one, right? Time still continues, I think, for all of us, figuring out how to have committed, focused time, and not waiting for some part of your life to change so that you can have more time, right? So those are the common speed bumps. And I don't know how many of you can relate to those, but they kind of were like, oh, wait, everybody has those things, was something that I felt when she was saying them. Okay. So this is the thing that she kind of left us with. What's the one thing holding you back from moving forward? And let's talk through how to fix that. So some of you I'm having calls with, and if you might already have something in your mind, like, yep, I know what it is. It's whatever, one of those three things I just mentioned or something else. So anyway, so think about that, and then talk with me or your sponsor coach or whoever you feel comfortable, and let's talk through what's your speed bump and what can we do now to help you move forward. And if it's one of those three things, then we definitely have some ideas for that. If it's something else that we can help with, let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for the moment. And before we open it up for questions, I did just want to talk through the rest of the group's ideas. So this is the practical part of it, right? So we have all those team groups, just to kind of break it down. So we have all those team groups. And again, I'm not sure, some coaches put new coaches into all those groups, and some of us, I don't always put my brand new coaches into all the groups. I think it's overwhelming, but to each their own, and whatever makes sense for your sponsor coach and you. But so what I would suggest, number one, is to talk through with your sponsor coach which groups they've put you in and which ones together you think are the primary ones that you could check. So my suggestion for a brand new coach is that you check into your Coach Basics group regularly, like daily, and get the new information from that, because that's where you're going to be learning about all the technical part of Beachbody, which is important to learn in the beginning, especially. You'll also get support. It's a smaller group, and we usually have more than one leader in the group, so it's really helpful because you can get your questions answered pretty quickly in there. So that would be my number one for new coaches. I think if your personally sponsored coach has a team page, that would be a good one to check into. If you're my my coach Inspiration Nation is our team page, so you can check in there. And again, that page would be good for inspiration, information, resources, like what's coming up and stuff like that. So I personally would do a check in there. And then the next one I'd say is challenge groups. So we run all of our groups, as I think most of you know, on Facebook. Eventually, we may end up branching out into some other form of social media, but that's pretty much where it is right now. So I would say check into your challenge groups at least daily, maybe twice a day. Make sure that your challengers see that you're supporting, even if you're not leading the group or posting in the group. They need to see that you're supporting them, even if it's just that you're commenting on things, liking things. Show them that you're present. And to that effect, I would say, if you're part of a challenge group with other coaches, we as a team have the philosophy that that no matter whose challenger it is, we always all comment on all of them, because it's the success of the challenge group depends on the success of all the challengers. If everybody's having a good experience, then everybody will want to continue on and make referrals and so on. So that would be what I would say are the top groups to check into. There's also, I think we teach this in Coach Basics, but I'm not sure if everybody remembers. You can, on the left side of your screen, organize your groups. So I have mine organized that way. So when I'm checking in, I just go right down the line on the left-hand side of my screen. I personally try to avoid the little, I don't know what it's called, the little world thing on Facebook, in the upper right-hand corner, because that just gets crazy. So I try and ignore that, and instead just go down the left-hand side of the screen on where the groups are listed and check into the groups that way. Because if you're checking in every time somebody comments or likes or posts in the group, it'll drive you crazy. It really will. So don't do that. Is my advice. Use the list. All right, I'm going to stop talking for a minute and see what questions you all have. And I'm going to unmute you. What comments you might have. There we go. All right, I'm going to take a drink here. I love this part. I have to tell you that I ran support groups before I was a Beachbody coach, so I am comfortable with silence.
You what? I'm sorry. There's a lot of feedback.
What'd you say?
I said I couldn't hear you. Somebody has a lot of feedback. What did you say?
I said I ran support groups before, and I'm comfortable with silence. All right, anybody have questions? Did anybody have specific things that they wanted to know about Facebook groups that they wanted to get covered tonight that maybe I didn't speak to?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I think it's very important that all of us coaches, like you said, comment on everybody's posts, not just your own challengers. Because I remember when I was first starting out as a challenger, like I looked forward to seeing like how many people commented on my status, and actually looked forward to hearing what everybody had to say. So it's just a good experience for everybody to have, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it doesn't take a lot, right? I mean, I think that too, that I felt the same as a challenger. It wasn't like I expected somebody to say something, mind-blowing. It was more like I just wanted to make sure I was heard, that's all. You know? Like just a way to go, or a great day, or a wake up tomorrow and let's go, or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the only one that ever asks questions, but I will ask you one thing.
Yeah.
At the end, you mentioned the Facebook thing. What were you saying to shut off getting notifications all the time? Because I'm constantly getting notifications. Is that what you're saying? You should shut off and just check the group twice a day?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Because I feel like that I'm although it might not seem that I'm working at this all the time, I'm working at this all the time because, and I mean, I don't object to it, but it just takes a lot of maybe time that I could be better using, and then all at once, I guess, doing it. So you just go in and shut off your notifications or something?
Well, I mean, this is just me. Everybody can speak to what they do maybe, but I have 0 notifications on my phone for Facebook, nothing. So I don't, if you message me, I'm not going to get it until I actually go into Facebook. And then on my computer, I tried to shut them off, but I didn't do it correctly, but I tried just to ignore, and I'll scan through them real quick and see if somebody tagged me specifically in something. Otherwise, if I see it posted on group, then I'm like, nope, I'll check that later. Nope, I got that, like, nope. Unless they like tag me or like comment on my wall, then I'm like, oh, let me see what that is. But otherwise, I save all the group notifications until later. That's what
I know for me, like when I first started out, I felt like I had to, respond to any challengers post like right away or any question right away, and you don't have to. I mean, I like to check in the morning and in the evening. I know other coaches who just check in once a day or whatever. So I feel like if you actually sit down and then go through all of your groups and do whatever you need to do, you don't need to pay attention to the notifications, like Kathleen.
Yeah, and you shut your chat off too, Nikki, Kathleen.
I do shut my chat off.
But you know what's funny is because we can tell when you're on, but your chat is off. Because it'll say active 2 minutes ago. And it'll say that for a long time whenever you have your chat off. It's so funny. I'm like, I know she's on there.
What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
I shut my chat off because I get so distracted. Like I have whatever. I've acquired ADHD because of this. Because every time somebody messaged me, it's like, oh, like I was doing something. Oh, what was that? And then I'm like, wait, what was I doing? And then you waste like 5 minutes getting back to what you were doing in the first place. So I shut my chat off so I can't see the bee-bong, bee-bong.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you could do that.
How do you follow up with it later?
How do I follow up?
On the chat, how do you follow up with it later? You see a number in the box and you go in and you look at the box?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the middle one, so there's like the world one and then like the message one and then the friend one. The middle one is like somebody's messaging you or whatever. So those kind of pile up a little bit and then I'll go back in and.
Okay.
Well, thanks for telling Shannon that. Now she'll probably start turning our chats off.
No, I won't. I promise.
I think I need to do that.
I'm different than everybody. Like when it comes to my messages, I always feel like I have to know about those right away. I don't know.
Me too.
But everybody's different. Everybody does things differently and works differently. So
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I do have a sense of urgency, but at the same time, I feel like maybe it's hitting into some of my time management. It might be worth a try. Thanks.
Yeah.
yeah, I know Melanie Mitchell. She has her. She turns her notifications off too.
Yeah.
You gotta do what's best for you. You know.
That's true. Definitely. Oh my gosh. I want to take that little baby's cheeks and just squeeze them
I
up.
know.
So cute.
He like loves these calls. He's like fascinated by all of them.
So many faces in front of them. I'm sure that looks pretty cool.
I love it. Love it. Love it.
Kathleen, I have a real quick question.
Yeah.
So when we, let's say like a new coach signs under one of us, okay? We should put them in inspiration for sure. If we have, then do you suggest like waiting before putting them in any other groups or asking if they want to? Like I know there's value in being in at least one of the bigger groups so they can, get information and whatever, but what do you suggest?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably one of those case-by-case things, but for me, I don't add my coaches to the bigger groups usually till they've at least gone through Coach Basics. And even then, sometimes just depends on, you know, who they are, what they're looking for, that kind of thing. I think, yeah, I mean, that's what I do. I don't know, Jen, I think you add them. Do you add them right away? I forget what you don't add them right away either.
No, I don't. And that was actually like, because I had a problem with people, like when I first became Diamond, just feeling overwhelmed and just dropping off and everything. And so whenever we were on that elite retreat with Melanie, and Leanne Ruff was there, and it was actually her suggestion to not put them into the bigger groups. You know, why overwhelm them even more if you don't have to? I mean, they can get the same information from us. I mean, yeah, there is more information in the bigger groups, but we pull most of that information that's important. So I wait until they're ready, at least to Coach Basics, like Kathleen said. And even some of them, I don't even still put them in there until like they want to be in there, or they're really actively working the business and things like that. But other than that, I don't. I put them on my personally sponsored page, and I put them in Inspiration Nation. And other than that, I don't move them up there until they're absolutely ready.
Sorry to my coaches. You guys are all in them.
I mean, I think that's
We could talk about it. We could talk about taking you guys out if it's too overwhelming. I never thought of it that way.
I mean, I think you're good. I think it's whatever works. I don't think there's a right or wrong, you know.
I've actually gotten some questions that I didn't even know I needed to know out of like Melanie's. Like somebody will post something and it's probably something that I would have eventually come across, but now I kind of already know what the answer is. So I personally, you know, like being in the ones that I'm in.
I was gonna say, I like it. It doesn't bother me at all.
Good.
There you go.
They start to annoy me after a while. It's the same questions over and over and over.
I do think though, it's what's helpful is sometimes, you know, the more you move along, and I guess this was kind of the point for me, like sometimes you kind of realize, or not sometimes, always probably, you realize like who you kind of gravitate towards leaders. And it's not, it may not be your personally sponsored coach, or maybe it's that plus somebody else. It's amazing that we have all these resources if they're inspiring to you, right? If it's not overwhelming to you, it's awesome. And if it is overwhelming to you, then again, you have permission to back out of things that are not providing real value. You know what I mean? And you can rejoin them at another point and, you know, whatever. Since it's each of our own business, maybe something today is really working for you, and you know, in a month from now, you know, you have to back out of it or whatever, but you have the permission to be in control of what's working for you and what's causing you anxiety or causing you whatever negative feeling that you might have. So and if you relate better to somebody else up the tree, that's great. That's why we're all, you know, that's why we're a team. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of the call tonight, I think, unless anybody else has questions or anything else that you wanted to talk about. In 2 weeks, which is the 24th, we're going to do another call. So we're going to try and do these ones every other week, because I know that you all, you know, like I said, people are branching out and there are other calls and there are cup team calls and all that stuff. And we want these calls to, again, be meaningful for you and not feel like one more thing you got to do. Hopefully they're providing you with some value. But next time, I know that Nadine wanted to get on because she opened up her Fit Club. We had a call about Fit Clubs maybe 2 months, a month, whatever it was, a while ago. And she has since opened her Fit Club and has seen pretty big success with it. And so I wanted to have her come back on, and we wanted to kind of revisit that topic because, you know, if it's something that would be helpful to you all, that would be awesome. I don't think she'll take the whole time. So if there's something else that anybody would like to hear to talk about, or if any of you have things that you're finding big success with and you want to share it, we would love for you to be a part of a call too. So so that's not for 2 weeks. So think about that for a little bit. If there's any other topics that you either want to hear about or that you would feel like it would be worth the team sharing with the team from some of your strengths, that would be awesome also. Okay, so thanks for getting on. It's good to see you all. Have a lovely evening. I'm going to stop recording.